hello, and good morning to all of ye beautiful nerds from around the world, and welcome to the morning stream here on the Den of Nerds Live. On today's show, I'm literally just going to geek out about the latest episode of The Clone Wars, Episode 10. Wow. Such an epic moment. Such an epic moment. One of the best I've ever seen in Star Wars. We're going to break that down. I'm literally just going to gush about that for, 20 to 30 minutes. And then we're going to get into Q&A today. And you know why? Because it's my show. If I want to gush about Clone Wars for a half hour, that's what I'm going to do. Okay? I will say spoiler warning at the top. If you haven't enjoyed this episode yet, come back later. We will do a condensed version of my thoughts. I'm going to clip out what I say and put it on the main channel, so maybe you can check that out later. So maybe once we get into that, you might want to leave for spoiler's sake. But either way, man, it's such a good episode. I feel like you'll want to go back and you'll want to check it out either way if you're a big Star Wars fan. And if not, no big deal. Maybe you'll find some of the stuff that went down in it very interesting. What's going on, everybody? I see a bunch of beautiful people in here. Dingo, Jareth, Adam G, Jason, Thomas, Star Wars Santa, Trinity's in here. Dingo Gaming, I said that twice. Maverick Pilgrim, Trev, Lucas. See, I know we're missing some other people. Stormbreakers, of course, here. Bill M, Jennifer Cook. Lots of beautiful faces. If you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on Twitch, hello, how are you? My name's Josh. We do this show at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. It's the morning stream, baby. So buckle in. Buckle in. However, before we get into the fun, and there's plenty of fun, I actually need to talk about something a little more serious, a little somber. If you've been watching the show this week, you may have noticed there was a day where one of our members of our Den of Nerds family, I consider it a family, one of the members of our family had mentioned that they had a friend that had passed due to the Rona. Okay? So this happened, I believe, a couple of days ago, and it was Russell. I don't see Russell in the chat yet. He might pop in later. Russell had mentioned to me the details of what was going on and what happened to his friend. Absolutely tragic circumstance. Absolutely tragic circumstance. Now, here's the deal. They set up a GoFundMe for the family. I'm going to link that GoFundMe in the chat in just a moment. It would appear that BuzzFeed got a hold of this story and promoted this story out to many, many people. So when I looked at the GoFundMe this morning, I think they're trying to raise something like $250,000. They're already $200,000 in. So we are on the last push of trying to get this thing to happen. Now, if you go read the GoFundMe, you will discover some of the circumstances with the family that sort of make this an even more tragic situation. Okay? All I'm going to say is that I'm going to personally give some money to this GoFundMe. And I would ask that the next piece of financial support that you are going to give us, whether it be a super chat, whether it be something on Patreon, whatever it was going to be, I would just ask maybe don't give that to us and or the channel, and send some of your whatever money you have over there. Look, there's tragedy all over right now. There's tragedy all over. This is a horrible thing going on that we're all kind of going through, right? There's all sorts of tragedy. We can't help everybody, and I realize that. And it's a really weird quandary of a thing, right? Because we have actually been reached out to with other people too. A lot of people going through stuff, right? All I can say, and the only way that I can sort of just rationalize it and I just tell you how I'm honestly feeling inside, is that, like, Russell's family. You know what I mean? And so this tragedy and him being sort of connected to us as a family, we have to help. Period. We have to help. So I'm going to post this in here. I would suggest, if you can, and as a way to sort of mitigate the expenses, I would honestly suggest whatever, if you were going to do a super chat today, hold on to that and send it over there. If you were going to buy some merch or whatever, hold it off and send it over to there. We just need to try to help out a member of our tribe, a member of our family, and somebody that's very close to him. And it's an absolutely tragic situation, man. He's the sole provider of that family. One of the daughters has cerebral palsy. And he's gone now. You know what I mean? He's just gone. And there's no good thing to say here. There's no good way to act. It's not even righteous. It is not heroic. There is only bad. There's just horrible, but we're going to just do what we can and do our part. And so that's what I'm going to do. I dropped that link in there. It would really mean a lot if you've got any kind of support that you can give. Go over to that GoFundMe and give that support. Okay? So, starting on a little bit of a somber tone, I apologize. There's no reason to linger on it. There's no reason to belabor the point. It would mean a lot if you can to go help this family out. That's all. All right. Put me up on the big screen, Chet. Put me up on the motherfucking big screen, Chet. Put me up on the big screen. Now we're going to switch the mood. We're going to turn the mood. We're going to turn it around. Again, spoiler warning. Spoiler warning, folks. We're getting into some talk here. Pause the music, Chad. I can't even. No. This requires my full attention, full focus. Look, slight spoiler warning if you haven't seen the episode. Okay, so you might want to get on out of here if you hadn't seen the episode 10, season 7, The Clone Wars. I've been pretty critical of The Clone Wars this last season. It hasn't been doing it for me. We were under the impression that these last 4 episodes were really going to be where the good stuff is. Looks to be the case, man. Last week's episode was a major step up from what we had seen. Going into this episode, we heard a lot of buzz online. Sam Witwer teased a lot of different things. He streams on Twitch, actually. He streams video games over on Twitch. During one of his streams, he was sort of teasing out some stuff for the episode. He's tweeted, I believe, that this is maybe some of the most epic stuff they've ever done in Star Wars was taking place at the end of this season of the Clone Wars. There are different people that are involved in Lucasfilm just hyping up this episode, okay? And so going into it, you were like, okay, I'm expecting something pretty epic, right? Holy crap, did this episode deliver. This is, once again, one of the most special moments in Star Wars, period. Dave Filoni, once again, delivers a moment of Star Wars that is just one of the best, period. I will come back to this episode often. I will rewatch this episode often. When conversations come up with friends about what are some of the most epic moments in Star Wars, period, this episode will come up. Something else really struck me as this episode ended and the credits came up. When you see created by George Lucas pop up on the screen. I think one of the reasons people love Filoni so much, I think one of the reasons people stan Filoni so much is because he is so reverent of George and of what George did and what George created and just how epic and important it is to different people. It's really special, man. And so I really, really love the reverence that Filoni gives to George, and you could just feel him playing off of what George has done in a really special way. I think one of the most interesting things about this episode is that Maul is having an existential crisis. He's having an existential crisis. His plan is revealed to actually be bringing Kenobi and Skywalker to Mandalore. That's the whole reason he actually invades and starts this up again. And the whole reason he did this is because he saw a vision of Skywalker becoming the apprentice and the tool and the key to everything for Darth Sidious, his old master. The plan was to bring Skywalker there and destroy him, to deprive the Emperor of a key piece in conquering the galaxy. And it's really cool. You can see him unhinged. You can see him making these realizations, constantly looking up into the stars, thinking about the things that he has seen, thinking about how he was played, thinking about how Dooku was played. It's really fascinating stuff. Upon realizing that it's not Kenobi and it's not Skywalker, he interrogates one of the clones in order to find out more about Ahsoka. Because at this point, he's never met Ahsoka. He doesn't really know much about her. They have a lot of mutual friends, though. I thought that part was kind of funny. And so he's discovering how powerful Ahsoka is. Ahsoka is very powerful. I think she grows in power, too. There's a lot of speculation about how strong is Ahsoka the White. I hope we get to see. I hope we get to find out. My gut tells me she's very powerful. Very powerful. Ahsoka is this close to joining with Maul to destroy Darth Sidious. How crazy would that shit have been, right? Oh, my God. Crazy. There's one question that Ahsoka has before she's willing to join with Maul. What did you want with Anakin Skywalker? What did you want with him? And then when Maul reveals that his plan is to destroy Skywalker, that Skywalker has been groomed to be the apprentice of Darth Sidious for a long, long time. Ahsoka, in a way, defending Anakin's honor, lights up her sabers and says, "No way, bro. No way." And then they start an absolutely epic lightsaber fight. Now, this had been teased. Certain people that had seen the episode had teased this online, saying that this could potentially be not only one of the best lightsaber fights in the Clone Wars, but in Star Wars, period. And I think they might be right. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was animated incredibly well. Especially just the way that Ahsoka, her sabers were sort of blurring as she was spinning around, as she was fighting, as she was doing all of this sort of stuff. It was pretty incredible. Super epic fight. She comments at one point, like, "You're lucky that Anakin's not here, because if you were fighting like this, you wouldn't have lasted long." A little bit of a dig for sure. But Ahsoka's a very good lightsaber duelist. One of the best. One of the best ever. I found that aspect to be so interesting. In general, the episode's ties to Revenge of the Sith really gave me the feels. And they were leveraged properly. It was really interesting the way it happened. There's some scenes with Obi-Wan where Kenobi is talking about what the Council suspects of Darth Sidious. He also reveals that he's not very happy that Anakin killed Dooku because Dooku could have told them more about Sidious. It's so interesting how it's playing off what happened in the prequels. And you guys know, if you're a stout follower of the content, that I recently did a video all about my prequels rewatch. I rewatched all the prequels, and I found a lot of really interesting things in those movies. I really love those movies. it is really interesting that Dooku even name-dropped Sidious in Attack of the Clones. It almost doesn't make sense. My belief in, and I went over this in the video, is that I think Dooku was trying, and Sidious really, was trying to divide the Jedi Order, to get some of them to join with the Separatists, because they were under the belief that the Republic was being manipulated by a Sith Lord. You know what I mean? It's really, really interesting. We get to see, as events in Revenge of the Sith are going on, what's going on Mandalore with Ahsoka and her conversations with Kenobi. It's really, really interesting. She talks about how Anakin is tasked to spy on the Chancellor. Ahsoka talks about how obviously that would be something Anakin would not like. It's really interesting. If the Jedi really suspected that Sidious had created the clone army and was playing both sides in the war, it's really weird that they would just keep on the path that they were on. It's almost like the only way I can make sense of it is if they thought they could just thwart that plan anyways. You know what I mean? Like they were like, oh yeah, no, this is probably what's happening, but we can just step in when the time is right and defeat him. Arrogance. Again, arrogance by the Jedi. So interesting. I think one of the reasons this episode is so good is because of the tragic elements. Tragedy is a theme that just works. There's a reason that tragedy and tragic stories are very popular, and they keep people captivated. They give you all these interesting feelings. I guess the tragedy here is that Maul is right about Anakin. Maul has seen a vision and is 1,000% correct about who Anakin is and how he's being manipulated and what he will do. And Ahsoka is wrong. Her faith in Anakin is misplaced. She wants to get up and defend his honor, but she's wrong. That's the tragedy. I think basically the prequels, all of them, they're a tragedy because we know Vader will fall. We know it's going to happen, and we're watching his descent. We're kind of like slowly watching him descend. And the thing that's really interesting is Dave plays off of all of this stuff in Rebels. At the end of the second season in Rebels, Maul and Ahsoka meet up again. Kanan and Ezra are there as well, and Maul is once again trying to undercut the Emperor, and he realizes he needs help to defeat Darth Vader. He's 100% sure he can't beat Vader on his own. And it's crazy because Ahsoka and Vader finally show down in that moment. And what's crazy is it will mirror back to this moment on Malachor, where she stood up for his honor. And like there has to be a realization there that she was wrong and Maul was right. And I just love how it comes into full circle in Star Wars Rebels. That's what Star Wars is. That's the brilliance of Star Wars, is that it's this circular mythic storytelling. So I got to tell you, man, as a Star Wars fan, though I have been very critical of this last season of the Clone Wars, and this episode does not take away all of the things that I had a problem with the filler episodes, with the lack of episodes, with the way they marketed it. I have to tell you, this was potentially worth all of that turmoil to get to something like this. This was brilliant. If the last two episodes are anything like this, when I think back to this season of the Clone Wars, I will only think of this. I'm not going to think of Trace. I'm not going to think of the redone episodes that we already saw in 2015. I'm going to think of the deeply tragic elements to this story, the unhinged nature of Maul, Sam Witwer's incredible performance, how all of these different pieces are pulling together, creating a deeper, more rich experience for Star Wars fans when you think back to these moments in the story. I think this is why I stand Dave Filoni so hard, because he has done this specific thing over and over and over again. He has created moments in the lore outside of the films that in both enrich the experience of the films and create an incredibly memorable moment outside of the films. I think that's why people want him to be in charge of Lucasfilm. Not just because of his reverence for George, but because his work enriches George's work. It enriches. And it also creates its own unique experience, which in most scenarios tends to be very deep and very satisfying. This was an incredible episode. I can't wait to see where we go from here. And I think there are these things, when you get this sort of goodness, it just reminds you of all the things and the reasons that you love Star Wars. And it's like, I want more of this. I want more of this. I want this dude's fingerprints all over more stuff. I think that this is something that could potentially help Star Wars as a brand, help the fan base, and just give us really good stuff. So, guys, that's my gush. That's my gushing about this episode, man. It was truly epic. Truly epic. And so let's get into the chat. Let's get into the chizat. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? And you know what? We're going to just get right into Q&A, man. We're going to get right into Q&A. Throw the Q&A thing up. It's going to be a lot of Q&A today, because all I really wanted to do, only thing on my agenda, gush about this episode. Mission accomplished. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Josh is a flip-flopper, says Adam from Fanchecture. Maybe. You know, I thought about that too. I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to come out and be like, you know, everything? Because I had thought about it. I was like, you know what? I'll come on here and be like, everything I said was wrong. Clone Wars. Whoop, whoop. Season 7. Oh, yeah. Everything I said was wrong. I'm not saying that they just get away with all the other stuff, but I'm just saying, like, this was the droid I was looking for. You know what I mean? Oh, my God. Wayne White, what a brilliant comment. I can't wait for someone to do a fan edit mixing with Revenge of the Sith intro into one big film. Yeah, making... Oh, my God. I can't wait for that either. That sounds amazing. Could Favreau be the CEO of Lucasfilm? So that's an interesting question, actually. I had a conversation when we got off the show yesterday. Adam from Fanjecture and myself just chatted because, like, we were just in the zone, having a good conversation, right? So we just kept going. We talked about this. I think it's possible. I actually tend to believe that it probably will happen in some way, and that they're sort of grooming him for this position, and that he will sort of take that position, the president, not necessarily CEO, but the president of Lucasfilm, maybe president and CEO. But Adam brought up a lot of good points, and I think that there are some reasons that that might not happen. Mainly, does Favreau even want to do that? You know what I mean? Like, you got to understand, he wrote the story for Mandalorian. Like, it came from his brain, guys. He's a creator. He's creative. He probably wants to keep creating. I'm not saying you can't be a creator. Look at Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige has been playing the MCU since he's 10 years old and had some action figures. He's creating in a lot of ways, right? So I could see Favreau sort of being the Feige of Star Wars, and I would really love it. But Adam's a smart guy. I've spoken to a lot of smart guys that don't necessarily see it going down that way. But it's a great question, Owen. I appreciate the question. So does this make up for the rest of the season? Renee, that's a good question. No. It does not. But there are 2 episodes left. And if they're anything like these last 2 episodes, if they continue to build and give us something like truly, truly special, I will... Man, it's a tough one. I guess I would personally forgive this last season. I would personally do it, but I would not like go out and argue that point. Do you know what I mean? Like if people were to ask me, or if I were to get into some kind of discussion, or someone was trying to get me to be like, you know, look, there's a bunch of haters out there that are saying this last season was crap, and Lucasfilm dropped the ball again, and then people would maybe look to me to be like, no. Listen, all ye Star Wars fans, Lucasfilm did exactly right. I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? So no, I can't. I can't come out and say that this makes it okay. No. But the season being what it is does not take away from these last couple episodes being absolutely incredible. This is enriching stuff. This is amazing. So I'm very excited to get the last 2 seasons. I'll rewatch this 4-part arc often. But no, it does, in my opinion, it does not make up for this last season. No. Lucasfilm dropped the ball. Again. And there's the novel stuff too, yeah. Which, again, I've had a big problem with Lucasfilm and their inability to deliver on the promise they made. They didn't have to make this promise. But they did, and they promised everything would be connected. Your investment would always enrich your experience as a Star Wars fan. Not true. When they made an Ahsoka novel and they sold it to people, they sold it under the impression that you were learning about that part of canon, and that part of canon was now going to be in your brain, and you were going to be able to have that enrich all the rest of Star Wars. They, I don't want to say lied, but they didn't deliver on that promise. So although I personally don't really care that much because the Ahsoka novel is sort of foggy in my memory, it is another example of them not delivering on that promise. You know what I mean? So it's like a tip of the hat for what they did with these last couple of episodes, but a wag of the finger on a lot of other shit. David Fuller says, yeah, the first half was bad enough to make me stop watching, therefore missing these dope episodes. Yeah, I wouldn't blame anybody that was like, I'm done. Like, I was almost done. I was that irritated by it. You know what I mean? That's just me. Ray Gerner says, what's up, Josh? Just talking Star Wars, baby. Talking Star Wars, talking Clone Wars. But also talking about anything and everything you want to talk about. It's Q&A time. You guys get to decide. Hawks Holocron says, Josh, do you believe Maul could be Barry Allen's could Barry Allen this entire timeline has either Ezra or Ahsoka actually believed him? Do you think he could have made real change? Tap that like button like it's a nice ass. I like it. A nice ass that is consensually agreeing to be tapped. Let's add that in there, Rob. But going back to Scotty's question, do I believe that Darth Maul could have Barry Allen this entire timeline? I think that Maul could have made a serious impact. I mean, here's the deal. The Emperor goes out and whacks Maul's brother and breaks up a lot of the momentum that he was building. The Emperor would not have done that unless he was a threat. Palpatine admits that Maul was a threat. So do I think that Maul could have? Yeah, for sure. I mean, think about it. Even on Malachor, if they had actually gotten that weapon up and running, like what if the sort of Darth or Death Star like weapon that's on Malachor? What if Maul had actually gotten it working and had blasted either Coruscant or the Death Star itself or something like that? What if Maul had used a super weapon against Sidious? That's a big time game changer. You know what I mean? I'll tell you this though, I see no scenario in which Maul could have actually killed Anakin had Anakin gone to Malachor or to Mandalore. I just don't see that happening. Here's another interesting question. Do we really think that Ahsoka and Maul together would have actually defeated Sidious? I don't know. I really don't. Another interesting question is the fact that Yoda sends Ezra, Kanan, and Ahsoka to Malachor when they meet with Maul. Why? There's a lot of mystery in like Yoda's motivations, what Yoda is thinking about all of this, and what he knows. A lot of mystery out there. Do I think Grand Moff Gideon is going to make an appearance in the next 2 episodes? I do not. I do not. But I read somewhere yesterday that Giancarlo Esposito broke 3 different darksabers while filming the 2nd season of The Mandalorian. Woo, baby! My man broke 3 different darksabers. Let's go! Let's go! I'm excited about that. Stormbreaker says, who do you think the Zappa character in Thor Love and Thunder could be? I'm actually going to do a solo video on that on the channel. It'll either come out today or tomorrow about that. But yeah, I saw that report come in yesterday. There's also this comment that Chris Hemsworth made about reading that script and saying it was like the wildest, craziest script. So I'm going to do a video kind of breaking down the new info about Thor Love and Thunder and speculate a little bit about that. That'll come out in a video later. Do you think there is a chance they make any more episodes after these next 2? Honestly, I'm thinking about doing that in a video as well for Sunday, for Star Wars Sunday, because I know there's been a lot of talk about the Clone Wars continuing. We even talked about that a little bit yesterday with Adam, about how Clone Wars could continue. I guess I'll just say that I think it could, but like, they can't do this again, And I was sort of rationalizing reasons and thoughts and kind of why they even did this. Like, look, I'll tell you, I'll give you a little tease here. And I told Adam this yesterday too. I'll give you a little tease here. I have it on pretty good authority that George way overspent on Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and that they were technically losing money because of the Clone Wars, because George didn't care. He wanted the quality. He wanted the craziness. He wanted all the things that he wanted. Now, Dave Filoni, I think I've told you guys this many times, but Dave Filoni went to the same college that I went to. And he came back to talk to us about making the Clone Wars because it's an art school, right? So we're artists. Dave was like our messiah. He was like, he went from making the Last Airbender animated show, which is going to come to Netflix very soon, which is really cool. He went from doing that kind of stuff to creating the Clone Wars and being George Lucas's Padawan. I mean, come on. When we heard that as college students, we were like, one of us is the Padawan to George Lucas now? It's amazing. So when he came back, he imparted a bunch of different wisdom on us. And I remember when he was explaining all the things that went into creating the Clone Wars, I was like, damn, they're taking this shit real serious. They're doing, this is all, how could this be, they're doing this to a cartoon? They're spending this much time, energy, money, resources on a cartoon? Now, years later, when I hear, some of my sources and some of the people I know and tell me, George was actually losing money on the Clone Wars. I was like, fuck, kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, kind of makes sense. So I think Lucasfilm and Disney, they're just not going to do that. They don't care like George cared. And they're more business oriented. So they're not going to do that. I guess what I'm saying to you guys is if all of the Clone Wars was going to be to the quality of the last 4 episodes, the budget would have been super big and it wouldn't have made sense. Now, my advice to them would be, don't do full seasons then. Do little mini arcs like this. Honestly, you didn't need any of that stuff. Like, you didn't need period any of it. Just jump right to this. This is playing out like a movie. It's like a 4-part miniseries movie. Do that. So, do I think they could do more Clone Wars after this? Yes. But they can't do this again, no matter what. They can't do this again. I don't think fans will stand for it. And they could do little mini arcs and stuff like that, but like, why? Like, here's the thing. I want to see them go forward. They obviously are capable of telling incredible stories, enriching Star Wars as a whole. There's nothing to say you can't do that pushing past the Clone Wars. You know, maybe that's what the Rebel sequel is. If the Rebel sequel is of this quality in animation and in action and in story, I'm all for that. You know what I mean? That's spicy. That's what I would like. Why haven't we seen the Darksaber yet? Does Maul still have it? That's an interesting question. I have to double check my canon timeline there, but I don't know if he has it. I don't know if he has it right now or not, actually. I don't know. Man, they just need to give us good content. I'm not worried about when it takes place. That's fair. That's totally fair. I think you're right. I think that's what we need. Owen asks, when will Doctor Doom be introduced into the MCU? I got a hunch that he might be introduced in Black Panther 2. I really do. I really do think that might be the play. By the way, folks, y'all know who Film Theory is? Do you guys know who Film Theory is? Let me know in the chat. Because if you want to, we can go into the theater together and we can watch the latest Film Theory video together. Because he's talking about Dark Avengers. My man is literally taking what I've been telling you guys for the past 6 months. What I've been suggesting to you in video after video after video. Film Theory thinks it's happening. You guys want to do it? You want to go check it out? Let me see. See if I can find it. Give me 1 second here. Whoa, what the hell? Whoa, Chet, what's going on here, buddy? What do we got going on here? I'm confused. I'm kind of scared. I don't really know what's going on. I really like Film Theory stuff. Give me 1 second as I sort this out, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll get on into the theater and we'll watch this video together.
Liberty Mutual.
The statue's on the other side.
Pause it. Cause I done been told you. I done told you. We gonna get that Dark Avengers, baby. I done told you that's gonna happen. My brother Kevin Feige, man, he gonna make it happen. Trickle on in. Come on into the dinner theater. Pause that, chat. What are you doing? Come on. Nobody's even in the theater yet. Kill the music. Look, Mr. Film Theory person. We are watching this and adding our own commentary. Therefore, not... Look, it's fair use. You know what we're doing. Don't strike us. Please. All right, is everybody in the theater? Trickle in. Come on in. Come on into the theater. All right, here we go. Let us watch this awesome video by Film Theory about the Dark Avengers.
Ideas for a series with over 20 movies in it has got to be getting difficult. Actually, it's super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Well, you remember how with Star Wars we ripped off Avengers Endgame? Boy, do I. On your left. But there are more of us, Poe. I am Iron Man. And I am all the Jedi.
Can we pause for a second there? Do you guys think that that's really what they did? Do you think that JJ literally ripped off Endgame? Because I just think that they were trying to do like epic things that ended up feeling very similar. I don't know if they actually ripped it off, but what do you guys think? What do you think? A little bit? Think they did? No? Yeah, so he's doing a sort of riff on the pitches that they do over at Screen Rant, I believe. I'm not sure exactly where they do those, but yeah.
Making money off the same ideas in different movies in the exact same year is tight. Glad you think so, sir, because that's exactly what I'd like to do to kick off this next phase of Marvel. Oh,
How's
really?
the audio,
Well, you know how we killed off Han Solo and then inexplicably made a movie about his backstory like a year later? You mean Solo, right? Yeah. Well, I was thinking of doing that exact same thing with the MCU, but this time with Black Widow. It sure is easy to be creatively bankrupt when you make all the movies. It certainly is, sir. But wait a minute, wasn't Solo a huge flop? Whoopsie.
Hey, look, that's something people are talking about. Peeps be talking about, is the Black Widow movie going to fail just like Solo did because of the same principles? That's a whole nother discussion. But why not?
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that has canceled all of its red carpet premieres for the foreseeable future. Honestly, those were a huge expense for a YouTube channel anyway, and maybe we should have quit them earlier, but you know, home-popped popcorn just isn't the same. I am going through butter flavor substitute withdrawals here, people. Speaking of which...
Dude, me too. I need that theater popcorn.
Appreciate this video, friends, since it's likely the only Marvel content that you'll be getting for the better part of this year. The events of 2020 have resulted in a lot of massive societal shifts, but one of the most interesting to think about has been the absolute shattering of the Marvel movie cycle that we've been on for nearly a decade now. One movie at the beginning of the year and one at the end. Sometimes if they were feeling ambitious, they'd throw one into the summer months too. It was nice. It was just part of the routine, like the changing of the seasons. You have the changing of superhero posters at your local AMC theater. April showers bring May flowers. May Star-Lord brings July Spider-Man. It gave you something to look forward to, but now, because of world circumstances, the house of cards that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe has started to tumble, and making it even worse at a time when it was already at its most vulnerable. I mean, 2020 was already going to be a stressful year for the MCU. You're coming off the conclusion of the biggest cinematic story arc in history, a crossover of epic proportions with fan favorites leaving and roles being passed to a whole new generation of faces. That's already a pretty big shift. Now you have to get people on board for the next big thing to come. So that's challenge one. Challenge two, your house of cards.
So I kind of agree with what he's saying here, but we'll get into sort of my thoughts on that. I actually think that, believe it or not, the delay, and you've heard me say this before, but I actually believe that the delay is actually going to help them, and it happened at like sort of a perfect time for their phases. But we'll get into that in a
suddenly
second.
has expanded into much more content. You're no longer just asking audiences to invest in 2 or maybe 3 movies a year, but now there's also Disney Plus streaming shows that we have to watch. Oof. Okay, I already had a subscription to watch Lizzie McGuire, so I guess I'll fit in WandaVision. And do I have to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier? I gotta be honest, I'm not particularly interested in that one. Maybe we should
Okay, so here's where he's obviously showing that he's not a massive Marvel fan, which is totally okay. I mean, I totally respect the guy, but frankly, not being excited for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, what? Do you know anything about anything? But let's continue.
start calling this the Marvel Connected Universe just to keep that same MCU acronym, because cinematic just isn't accurate anymore. Will this newer, bigger universe collapse before it even gets started? At least they have this new phase being kicked off by their biggest stars, Spider-Man Far From Home and the Guardians of the... Oh, wait, that's right. A long time ago, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was scheduled to release in 2020 as the second part of Phase 4. Smart move! Get some of the most beloved characters to lay the groundwork for all the new adventures set to come. Spider-Man on Earth and the Guardians up in space. But in 2018, the series' director James Gunn was fired off the project, only to be rehired a year later, but at that point the damage was done. Guardians was pushed back to 2022, leaving the big Welcome to Phase 4 banner being hung on none other than Black Widow. A film that was already on the bubble of being direct to streaming, starring a character who died in the last movie.
Not a great plan.
Chalk all that up to
I will agree that that's not a great plan. And actually, one of my biggest criticisms of the Black Widow movie is that it's a film out of time. It should have gotten the slot that Captain Marvel got, for sure. And honestly, films where you kill someone and then do like a prequel, I do think that's sort of foolish. I do. So
Challenges
I'm with
3
him
and
on that.
4. And now everything has been pushed back, with Black Widow coming out in November, with a domino effect to every other release date. I mean, I was just eager to get through the 2020 movies and back to the Thors and Doctor Stranges that I love at the top of 2021, but nope, gotta wait a whole nother year for those guys. And that is challenge number 5. So after years of dominating the box office and tons of smooth sailing, the Disney Marvel machine already had itself some rough waters ahead, and now they're even rougher, with Black Widow as the figurehead at the front of the ship. And all of this is without me even mentioning the intricately crafted story arcs between franchises where characters are introduced, twists happen, and those ripple effects are felt through the next wave of content, all of which is dependent on perfectly timed releases. Of course, that last point wouldn't matter all that much if Black Widow were really just an after-the-fact Phase 3 movie that most people think it is, but I don't think that's the case. The more I see of the Black Widow trailers, the less I think this is gonna be an empty filler movie in the release slate. Despite the
Well, I mean, duh. I mean, fucking duh. It's Kevin Feige. Do you really think he was just going to do an empty filler thing? Yeah,
world expecting Disney to just drop Black Widow onto Disney Plus, like Onward, or just follow the home premiere trend that a lot of other movie studios are using these days? Disney didn't do that. And beyond financials and contracts and things, I think there's a reason for that. A solid narrative reason that affects the entirety of Phase 4 movies. I think that they pushed back the releases of 2 years worth of productions so Black Widow would get a chance in theaters, because Black Widow is going to be as important to establishing Phase 4 of the MCU as Iron Man was to establishing Phase 1. Because, get this, I think they may be setting this whole thing up for the next generation of Avengers. A new team of evil Avengers, known as the Dark Avengers. Let's look at the facts.
Oh my God. Take your shot, boys. Take your shot. I'm in art school head 2. Where did you go? I went to Edinburgh, University of Pennsylvania. Edinburgh. Where, yeah, Dave Filoni went there as well.
facts. I've already spent some time in a previous theory talking about how the Black Widow trailers may have already hinted at the true nature of Taskmaster, that the he is actually a she, Melina Vostokov, coming from the same training program as Black Widow, only with a chip on her shoulder because Natasha Romanoff is so much better at everything, and also left the rest of the girls trapped in that awful program. Melina gets herself injected with the super soldier serum and comes back to kill the friend who left her and the rest of the Widow family. Cool, that's all well and good, but Taskmaster, as I see him or her, is just our villain of the week in this case. Kinda like Ant-Man 2's Ghost or Iron Man 2's Whiplash. She may come back here or there, but she's not the overarching threat for the entirety of Phase 4. But there is another, much more sinister and further-reaching villain marching across this movie, General Thunderbolt Ross. Now, many have forgotten by this point, but Ross is actually one of the earliest characters introduced into this whole universe, with his first appearance happening way back in the second.
I mean, this dude is literally talking my language, talking about the same thing I've been talking about for like 6 months. I know people are roasting film theory in a chat, but honestly, he's very good at what he does. I have a lot of respect for film theory, and although our opinions may differ, it's all good, man.
MCU movie ever, 2008's oft-forgotten Incredible Hulk.
Here you have an unusual problem.
You should talk.
You should listen. What if I told you we were putting a team together? Who's we?
Forgotten for good reason, too. Twitter was buzzing the other day about Iron Man 3 being the worst Marvel movie. Get serious, guys. Have you watched Incredible Hulk? I mean, look at those CGI abs. I've seen more realistic-looking stomach muscles on a PlayStation-era Tekken character. Now, in that movie, General Ross was the bad guy, hunting down the Hulk, but since then, he's been more or less a neutral force in the films, acting as U.S. Secretary of State with his biggest act coming in the form of the Sokovia Accords from Civil War.
For the past 4 years, you've operated with unlimited power and no supervision. That's an arrangement the governments of the world can no longer tolerate. But I think we have a solution, the Sokovia Accords.
But there's a lot more to this character than meets the eye. His sinister nature has always dwelled just below the surface, and in 2008, Marvel Comics transformed Ross from a mortal military leader into something a lot more fearsome, the Red Hulk, an uninhibited, tactically intelligent adversary for our lovable green guy. In the comic storyline, he was created as part of yet another super soldier program led in part by the criminal organization known as Intelligentsia. Now, here's
Dang, bro, this dude's like watching my videos. It's like I've been laying this out.
where things get interesting. You see, while the Intelligentsia and its core members have yet to appear in the MCU, one of its key allies and partners for creating the Red Hulk has appeared in the MCU. Advanced Idea Mechanics, or AIM for short.
I have a proposal I'm putting together myself. It's a privately funded think tank called Advanced Idea Mechanics, or AIM for short.
You see, in Iron Man 3, while everyone was busy complaining about the Mandarin, AIM was working in the background pulling the strings. They created the Extremis program, which made super soldiers in possession of heat-based abilities.
You breathe fire? Okay.
Now, Red Hulk doesn't exactly work the same way Green Hulk does. When Red Hulk gets angry, instead of getting stronger, he gets hotter. Wait a minute. Didn't we just say that AIM was making heat-based super soldiers in Iron Man 3?
Dude,
and we know that in Black Widow, Ross is going to be playing a
this.
big part, and that the plot will have to do, at least in part, with the return of the super soldier serum. So now, if only we could confirm that AIM was going to be a part of this movie, we'd have ourselves a pretty strong case for Red Hulk appearing sometime before the end of the film. And would you look at that? AIM is going to be making an appearance in Black Widow. See, if you freeze frame and look at the medical equipment at the bottom of the screen, you can clearly see AIM marked on the side. So we have the man who will become Red Hulk, the project that made the Red Hulk, and the return of the MCU's evil scientist organization known for making heat-based soldiers, all combined into this one movie. Seems like it's more than just a coincidence. Now, all that alone would be noteworthy, but that scene with Yelena on the gurney is interesting for another reason. Not only does it introduce AIM back into the MCU, but it also reflects a plot from the comics with some bizarre implications. If you look closely at that freeze frame, you'll notice that Yelena Belova's face has a neat little seam running along the top. Nope, that's not her hairline, and it's not a wig that's been snatched. You see, the Marvel Breakdown comics involve Natasha getting facial surgery to look just like Yelena. She does this to convince Yelena that super spydom is dangerous, which, you know, you don't need facial swap surgery to really do. It's called watching any Jason Bourne movie ever.
I actually don't
Anyway,
think they're
if
gonna-
this scene is real and not just
don't think they're gonna
manufactured
do
for
the
the
face swap
trailer,
thing,
it
though.
looks like the MCU might be trying to follow in the comics' footsteps, with
I don't
Yelena
think they're gonna do
posing
that.
as Natasha, or Natasha posing as Yelena, one of the two. Again, I don't know why you need to take it that far, considering that in Winter Soldier, Natasha had herself some pretty convincing facial disguise technology, but again, super spies gotta be super. But here's the twist, my friends. What if the facial swap doesn't end with this movie? So Yelena and Natasha swap identities or faces or whatever. Maybe Natasha is trapped in prison or something, and Yelena is going out posing as her. Big whoop, right? Think again. Remember how in Infinity War and Endgame, Black Widow's hair was blonde rather than the usual red? The change was never explained
Yeah,
in
it's a good
continuity. The
video.
characters definitely had bigger issues to deal with than Natasha's choice of hair color, but it was kind of strange to see this famously red-headed character just go blonde for a movie and a half for no reason. We all just dismissed it as a way to mix up the look of her character, keep her identity hidden while she's a fugitive from the government, or heck, just sell more Black Widow toys. Now with blonde hair action. But what if the blonde hair was an indicator that this isn't the real Black Widow, the one that we know and love and continue to question why she belongs in a team full of gods and tech billionaires? Now, hair alone wouldn't be all that much evidence, but what about the vest? We see it in the trailers for Black Widow. Yelena is wearing a tactical vest, no sleeves, 2 snaps along the neck, 3 double bracketed straps that wrap around the body, all worn in a half zip. It is the exact same vest that we see Natasha wearing in Infinity War during the subway fight scene to protect Vision. A tactical vest, no sleeves, 2 snaps along the neck, 3 double bracketed straps that wrap around the body, all worn
this
in a
is pretty
half
compelling.
zip. Originally, I thought that Marvel Studios was going to do exactly what Marvel Comics attempted in 2002, replacing Natasha Romanoff with Yelena Belova as the new Black Widow. That year, Marvel released an entire year's worth of Black Widow comics without Natasha, but that wasn't a super popular decision. After a year's hiatus, the Black Widow comic returned with Natasha back in the main role, and Yelena cast as a villain moving forward. And that may just be our biggest clue as to Yelena's real purpose in the MCU. Between Ross's involvement in the movie and Yelena's likely impersonation of Natasha, I believe Yelena is gonna become the first member of MCU's Thunderbolts, eventually leading to the reveal of a new team of villains, the Dark Avengers.
Okay, so
Let's
this
start
part
with the
I'm with
Thunderbolts.
him.
This is a weird little Marvel team that has wildly varied members depending on what version it is, but the general idea is that Thunderbolts look like superheroes on the surface, but are more of super villains in disguise, or superheroes being misled by a supervillain. Red Hulk ran a Thunderbolts team consisting of heroes like the Punisher, who eventually turned on him when he realized that Ross was up to no good and wiped out almost the entire team. Other notable leaders of the Thunderbolts include Baron Helmut Zemo and Norman Osborn. Both of these figures are upcoming in the MCU. Baron Zemo was already in Civil War, and we know that he's making a return in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, he's making a
We
return in Falcon and the Winter
also
Soldier?
know
Well, maybe
that
you
a
actually
twist
wanna
in
watch that show.
Black
Let's not
Widow will
shit
be
on it
important
stupidly.
for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so the connections there just continue to deepen. All of it is a major indicator that the Thunderbolts are going to be playing a large role moving forward, and Yelena could serve as a perfect member of that almost hero supervillain team. As for Norman, well, he's already been hinted at in Spider-Man Far From Home, as we covered in a previous theory. So if Norman Osborn does indeed join the Thunderbolt crew, well, it'll give Marvel the chance to upgrade the Thunderbolts to the Dark Avengers. It's exactly what Norman Osborn did in the comics. He joined the group,
Yep.
he took it over, and then he
Yep.
made them into the Dark Avengers.
Yup.
And think about it, we may already be on our way there. An evil Hulk and an evil Black Widow. Things are definitely starting to take shape. And heck, we all know that the most exciting storylines are when the heroes end up fighting themselves. I
Yup.
mean, that's what the Power Rangers taught me. So there you have it, friends. Why Black Widow may be more worth our time than anyone expected.
Okay. Cool. Let's get back into the chat. Oh my god, it's 11 already? Holy shit. Okay, let's get back into the chat. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, literally a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about for a long time. Now, I will say that's ALM. That's not AIM. No, that's not AIM. A lot of people have made that mistake. That's like a medical thing. You know what I mean? And Brent Maxey, one of our patrons, really made that clear to me. And I agree. I don't think that's AIM. I also do not think they're going to have Natasha be alive. But I do think that Yelena might work with the Thunderbolts and the Dark Avengers, so I think that's true. That could work. As far as the face swappy thing goes, I just don't see that. I don't see it happening. I think, if anything, that's her being made into Adaptoid. because she's wearing the same outfit that she was wearing in that battle. And in the comics, Yelena is damaged like irrevocably from a battle. And then they take her and they repair her by turning her into a version of Super Adaptoid. So I think that could potentially be what's going on with Yelena. But for sure, Dark Avengers and Thunderbolts, for all of the reasons that he mentioned in the video, all the reasons that we've been talking about for months, this is obviously the play. And I think Dark Avengers would be so epic. Like, I'm telling you, the next Avengers should be Dark Avengers. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about this a lot. So, nothing necessarily new to that. But I did think it was interesting. And people kind of hit me up about it and were like, it's so crazy that this dude is going off of the theory that you've been talking about for months. You know what I mean? It's coming. Dark Avengers. It's coming. So what do you think? What do you think? I'm pretty sure it was Natasha that died. The lag you're getting today is crazy. Oh, that's too bad, man. Is it on our end or your end, do you think? David asks, a little while ago you were saying that you would continue the stream and do some gaming. Do you still plan on doing something like that or more gaming streams? Yes. Oh, I'll tell you actually what I think we're going to do, David, is Fridays, what I think we're going to do is Fridays I will no longer do the regular morning stream, and instead we'll do a gaming stream. And I think we'll push it to the evening. Something like 3 or 4 will be the start time. And we'll go for 3 to 4 hours. And so I think that's what we're going to do is Fridays, I won't do the morning stream anymore. And instead, we'll pop up at like 3 or 4 o'clock and start doing gaming streams. Now, on top of that, the last community stream each month, because we do these community streams, right? Every week we do a community stream. The last community stream each month will be a gaming stream. And we will play video games together as a community. So yes, gaming streams are going to start to be put into our workflow, and that's the way I want to do them. Is like, so every Friday, starting probably at like 3 or 4, we'll start a big gaming stream. We'll start it on here and we'll start it on Twitch. And we'll be gaming. So yeah, that's probably what we're gonna end up doing. What if Endgame, the Avengers, accidentally traveled into the future in Spider-Man 2099 cameo? That would be dope, dude. That would be really cool. There was the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. teaser trailer yesterday. That was kind of cool. Awesome, man. I'll check it out. I will check it out. You think Black Widow looks hotter with the red hair? I like the red hair, too. I like the red hair as well. Oh, man. Feeling good. Feeling good about this Dark Avengers thing, man. You know, like it's pretty wild that a lot of things are obviously getting delayed, and we got some time to wait here. Oh, I want to mention too to everybody in here that's on the article, like wants to do articles, and especially for Stormbreaker and some of the other people like Trev that have been submitting articles. Tomorrow for the Patreon stream, because we're streaming on Patreon every Saturday at noon. The Patreons do a stream, and we do brainstorming, and we talk about like the plans for the channel and things like that. So if you're a supporter on Patreon, that's a thing we've been doing. You're already aware of that. Every Saturday at noon, and then every Sunday at noon, I do a stream for the business folks, the folks at the $10 tier and up, where we talk about like deep business stuff, strategies, helping them out with their businesses and things like that, okay? Tomorrow's stream at noon is going to be about the website. So I had multiple meetings this week, and I'm taking all of the content that Stormbreaker has submitted, that other people have submitted, that I've written, and we are going to start adjusting it the way we need to help the website out, okay? And so basically what I'm saying to you is, even if you're not a Patreon supporter, but you want to write articles for the site, let me know. Reach out to me on Discord or email me, and I will get you a link into the Patreon stream tomorrow. So even if you're not a Patreon supporter, if you want to work on the website, you can get access to the stream tomorrow where we'll be talking about the strategies for the website. So email me, hit me up, and I'll get you a link tomorrow, okay? You can't come to every single one because it is for the Patreons. It is a special sort of thing. But if you want to write for the website, hit us up, and I'll get you the link. Yep, I got you, Stormbreaker. I got you on that tomorrow for sure. So that's going to be really cool. I'm excited to be doing that because the website, man, we're going to get that website rocking. We're going to start getting all the clicks over there, and it's really going to help us out. So I'm pretty pumped about it. I heard Extraction is really good, better than expected. I'm excited to check it out later, man. I'm excited to check it out. I'm a fan. So Trinity is not live yet. I'm sure he'll go live in just a second here, and I'll link him. And we'll get that sorted out. Yes, we shall get that sorted out for everyone. I guess I could take one or two more questions. You watched it and it's good. Just started it. It's good AF. Awesome. What's the email? It's thedenofnerds@gmail.com. Josh, for that female Star Wars-led show, do you think it'll be Force-related or no if it's not Ahsoka? So the big theories out right now, I think, are that it could be an Ahsoka show or it could be a High Republic show focused on maybe the character of Avar Kriss. That seems to be the thing. People just think that this Avar Kriss character is someone they're really going to push. By the way, my gut is telling me that Avar Kriss will go to the dark side. I think she should go to the dark side, to be honest with you. So that would be really interesting. Watching it with the fam tonight? Awesome, man. Just watch it. Random question. Why don't you schedule the daily streams instead of just go live? I mean, it's a great question, man. I mean, honestly, it's something I've thought about, and I think we might end up doing that. I have to try to figure out if I can do that with the simulcast because we're simulcasting to Twitter or to Twitch and to Facebook. There's still a lot of stuff I have to sort of tweak on the back end for it. But that's part of the reason. Also, man, like I like to decide on the show when we wake up. I don't necessarily want to commit to a show idea the night before because news could come out and, you know, things could change and all that. So, it's like hitting a moving target every day when I go to share the stream. What do you mean? I think I know what you mean, but I'm not 100% sure. Salute Your Short says, Shang-Chi will be awesome. For sure. Where's Al been? I just had a conversation with Al 2 days ago. Honestly, he is just really, really busy. His day job is in healthcare. And just in general, man, he's been crushed right now. He's incredibly busy. But yeah, I had a great conversation with Al, and you know, a lot of the producers and just kind of everybody right now is all dealing with a bunch of crazy stuff, right? So whether it's like stuff that's on their workload, like Godfather crushed right now, super busy. Maverick Pilgrim crushed right now. Alex crushed right now. Even Ryan crushed right now. A lot of people are just super busy with a lot of different things going on right now. So it is what it is, you know, and we're working on pulling pieces together. We're still working on making a bunch of changes and getting things set up so that once things start popping again towards the end of this year and once the MCU comes back in full force, we can be completely set up. Through freedom, my chains are broken. The Force shall free me. A little bit of Sith code. My business is picking back up, having to improvise. Yeah, for sure, man. Trinity, are you going live today or no? Okay, I see what you're saying, Jonathan. Well, yeah, going in a couple minutes. Cool. I'll wait and then I'll throw up your deal. Just a question: are you going to do something with Jeremy Conrad and Charles Murphy again? Yeah, Charles actually reached out. I've just been so busy. Like, I'm going to spend some time today trying to catch back up with everybody. And yeah, I want to do something with Charles for sure. I'd like to have him on the stream as a regular, you know, and potentially the same thing with Jeremy and just go over crazy stuff like that. Charles and I think what we're going to do is I'm going to sort of pick his brain and get some website help. Like, I want him to sort of help me with the website, and then I'm going to help him with his YouTube channel. So we'll kind of barter like that. Wandering Dog says, how's it going, man? It was great to hear back from you in the email yesterday. Thanks, bro. Of course, man. Jordan says, thanks for the shows, man. Watch you every morning while I work from home. Love the show. Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Jordan. I'm having a great time, too. Honestly, like, you know, like, YouTube is what it is, and things have been weird. Like, dude, I'm pretty sure the main channel is in, like, YouTube jail this week. It's like the numbers are just down, and, like, I'm having trouble breaking through. Now, there's not any real crazy news either, but, like, I think that when I was talking about that stuff with the Rona, man, we got put into YouTube jail. So we'll see what happens. It might be a week or two. But we're just going to continue to punch out the content and continue to build relationships with you guys and do some really fun stuff with you. The trivia contest is going to be dope. Like, the trivia contest is going to be very fun. Win-win for both of you. Yep, 100%. Hundo percento, man. And I got to spend some time on my Star Wars fan fiction today, man. It's like crazy. It's crazy how busy I am right now. It's tough. It's real, real tough, man. Industry has to react soon. Yeah, man. Josh, you should do a breaking into Zoom classroom meetings. 100,000 views guaranteed. You're really interested in doing a fan fiction too? What timeline are you trying to work in? I'm going 1,000 years into the future. You ever try Firefox, Trinity? Sometimes that is better. Less RAM being eaten. Chrome eats a lot of RAM. I'm going 1,000 years into the future past episode 9. Watch parties like bars do major fights. Well, you know, like, so we have a Twitter group, and Ken does these watch parties with everybody on, I think, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, where they watch movies together. And man, I talked to Tara last night. We had a good chat, and like, she was just telling me how dope those have been and how, like, it's just been so good for the community, and it's almost like therapy with everybody together, and it's just a really positive thing. So if you're looking to hang out with a bunch of the Den of Nerds people, I haven't made it to one yet. I will try to make it to one very soon. But either way, like, it's not all about me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a great communal thing happening during those watch parties in our Twitter and in that Twitter group, and all I got to do is tweet to our Twitter account. Jesus Christ. Tweet to us and ask Ken to add you to the Twitter group for the watch parties, and then you can hang out with people while you watch a movie together, tweet together, and converse. And honestly, I'm so happy that those have been going so well. I got a lot of great feedback from people, so, you know, Ken is a special dude, and those have been really good. We'll have to start thinking about outside the box. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that this is a time where you do have to sort of think outside the box. And, like, there are things we can do now that we might not have been able to do had things been going normal. So, of course, if things were normal and news was coming out and there were big numbers and we were following stuff and getting pumped up with stuff, it would be great. But there's actually an opportunity because if you think about it, had things been going normal, we would not have been able to take the time to set up some of these things like the website and, the trivia contest and these other things. We perhaps might not have had the time to do that. So we can take advantage of this slow time period for news to build up some things so that once news comes back, we have these other things running very smoothly and figured out. Do you play D&D, Josh? Maybe streaming something like Critical Role does would be smart. Well, it's really interesting that you say that because, yeah, I mean, not only do I play D&D, but Jason and myself are actually planning something exactly like that for the fourth quarter this year. We should be able to pop it up late this year, and it'll be a Dungeons & Dragons Critical Role style campaign that's homebrewed. And it's going to involve characters. It's going to involve Marvel characters like superheroes, fantasy, Star Wars, Star Trek. All these different fandoms are all going to be merged together. Oh, thanks, Stormbreaker. I appreciate that, man. Lord of the Rings, indeed. Yeah, Jonathan, there's a lot of people live stream D&D stuff. It better include The Walking Dead. Yeah. We could throw some zombos in there. I don't see why not. Throw some zombos in there. All right, so it looks like Trinity is having some problemos with Chrome. I'm going to get out of here, but I'm going to post a link to his channel, and I'm going to try to pop in there when I see him go live, and I'm hoping that you guys do as well. So I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much for being here, man. Friday, you guys made it through a week, man. One more week down in Ronaville. Hopefully, we get some good news soon about everything that's going on. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I love you. I hope that you're feeling good. I hope that you're getting through. And, man, I would really, really urge you to check out that link I put in earlier. Check out that GoFundMe. And if you can support one of our family members, man, and someone really close to him and a family that he really cares about, check out the link at the top of the show for Russell and his friend. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I will see you in the next video.